Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So you guys requested a video on Teen Titans Judas contract, so just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but I'll cover all the comic book stuff too. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything. I do Marvel and DC every week. There's a giveaway going on I'll explain at the end of the video. But overall, Judas' contract was a big step up over the previous DC animated films. Justice League War was a lot of fun, but you have to imagine that this is the younger generation of the DC universe, so it's more in continuity with films like Son of Batman, which informs some of the Deathstroke arc, which is one of the big things that I did not like. So I'll explain all the Deathstroke problems, but a lot of it is just a confluence of the changes they made from the comic books and pre-existing canon that they hadn't set up in the animated films. So they kind of had to work with the characters that they had in the story that they had already told. So if you watched all the DC animated films, they're all in the same canon, so that means that the next film after this will have to acknowledge the events of Judas' contract and the repercussions. So that's like the big post-credits scene introducing Donna Troy.
But it's not just about the cool superpowers, snazzy uniforms, and daring adventures. It's about us helping each other grow, be better people.
Listen, I know you're not supposed to talk about this, but I just gotta ask. There's a new girl, right?
All I can say is that she's a wonderful addition to the team.
Come on, Gar.
Starfire would kill me.
So everyone's like, yay, Donna Troy is part of the animated universe now. It's about time she joined the team. So one of the really good examples of why they had to change things in the makeup of the team is because in the original Judas contract comic book, Donna Troy and Cyborg were already members of Teen Titans. There was no Damian Wayne, and it was the first appearance of Nightwing on the team as Nightwing himself. So Nightwing was a big part of the original story, but obviously because Damian Wayne is such a big part of the animated movies that they've been doing so far, they had to find a way to fit those characters both into the team. So Nightwing in the movie is coming back after being gone for a long time, but he and Starfire did have a thing in the comics, so when he and Corey are cozying up to each other in the movie, that is comic book canon, and Deathstroke is the big villain of the Judas contract arc. Tara in the movie was actually great. That's Christina Ricci if you didn't recognize the voice. So Wednesday Addams is playing the Betrayer, and it's totally comic book accurate. She probably had the best arc of all the characters in the movie. And some of you, if you haven't read the comic book, there was that creepy relationship with Slade where it's like she wants to be with him, like in an adult way. It's the same thing in the comic book. She's supposed to be like 14 years old. In the comic book, he's like 45. So if you thought that weird affection that she showed for him in the movie was creepy, it was way more gross in the comic book. There were a few minor changes they made to her character with the way they told her origin story, the reason why she was working with Slade, why she felt so loyal to him. Slade came to her rescue and then used her as a means to an end to get back at the Teen Titans, but the comic book version of the story is way less forgiving of her. She just goes crazy insane. They make her think that her parents are being held, and unless she helps them betray the Teen Titans and inform on them, they'll kill her parents. But then later she finds out her parents had been dead for a long time. So the betrayer herself gets betrayed. But the end of the story, where she tries to find some redemption and help them take down Brother Blood, she brings the ceiling down on herself. This was the way she died in the comic book. But let's talk about some of the problems though. So Deathstroke, one of the best comic book characters ever. Miguel Ferrer was great in his performance. He's been playing Deathstroke in the animated movies for a while now. He recently passed away, so may he rest in peace. Just like all the other voice actors in the movie, their performance was great, but some of the story arcs were just awful. In the comics, the reason he's trying to take down the Teen Titans is because of the death of his son, Grant Wilson. Now, his son died because of actions that he took, but he still resents the Teen Titans and blames them for his death. So you kill my family, I won't stop till you're all in the ground. It's a much more personal connection to the Teen Titans, and you understand his pain. His son is dead. But in the movie, the reason he hates the Teen Titans is because during the Batman vs. Robin movie, Damian Wayne stops him from taking over the League of Assassins.
Go ahead. Finish me. You were trained to kill your enemies, weren't you? It's what you want. It's what I would do. It's what your grandfather would do. Well, do it!
No. I'm my father's son, too. I'm Robin.
So if you're a big comic book fan, you know there's a big problem with that idea. Slade Wilson would never try to join the League of Assassins. He's a loner. He's already as good of a fighter as he's ever going to be. He's way better than any of the League of Assassins, and he doesn't want a team under him. He works alone. So there should be no reason for him to join the League. But because the movie universe set that up, they had to use that as his motivation during Judas' contract, and it just fell completely flat. It's like, what was this? A couple movies ago, he wanted to join the League? That doesn't even sound like a Deathstroke thing. So I really did not like this Deathstroke comic book arc. He comes off a little mustache twirly. Speaking of which, the other big flaw of the movie is Brother Blood's character. He winds up being this paint-by-numbers villain that just absorbs all of their powers and becomes this big boss for them to take down. But you really don't understand why he's doing what he's doing. Like, what's the point? Even if you know the comic books and you understand Brother Blood's character, we are way in left field, so did not like Brother Blood in the movie. But they did do a good job of setting up Jericho, who is another one of Slade Wilson's children. So we haven't met Ravager yet, but Jericho is a big part of the Judas contract arc. This movie, though, just used him as a test subject, so whatever they're going to do with him in the animated movies, we'll find out in the next big adventure. But he has psychic abilities, he can astrally project himself, so he does have superpowers like they imply in this, so he sort of heals himself. So the big change here is that they make no mention of the fact that he's Slade Wilson's son. Hopefully they won't change that in the comic book universe, because so far the animated version of Deathstroke has been pretty weak compared to his comic book self. If you want to read a really awesome version of Deathstroke and you've never read him before, start with Rebirth, Deathstroke Rebirth #1. It's being written by Christopher Priest. He's really famous for writing this badass Black Panther run, so he said his goal of the Deathstroke comic book is to just infuse a lot more pathos and depth into the character, much more than comics have done him credit. There's a lot of reasons why he does the things he does, so that's what they try to establish during the Rebirth comic, just to give you an idea of who he is and what informs his decisions. So overall, Judas Contract is a step up in quality from the last Teen Titans movie, but I feel like they can do a much better job with their villains. But the problem is they only have about an hour and a half to tell a story, so if you have all these heroes, then there's just not as much time to fill out the villain characters, so we'll see how they do it. But I have a feeling that the next movie will focus on setting up the Donna Troy character, so it'll be a Donna Troy-centric story. But let me know, what did you guys think of the Judas Contract? And there's a new round of the Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. Congratulations to last week's winner, Jay Watson. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. So while you wait for my next video, click here for Thor Ragnarok and click here for brand new Flash Injustice 2. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys in the next video.